Man, when DL Hughley grabbed that mic and started talking about Nelly owing Donald Trump a cool $1 million, the internet didn't just react, it exploded. Nobody expected a comedian to step into the money drama between a rap legend and a former president, but here we are.
Wait, that's not what I'm saying at all. That's why I'm not telling you who to vote for. But what I'm saying is that he's the president of the United States. He's not the candidate for the United States. He's the president.
DL came in swinging, saying things like he's tired of celebs fronting like they got it when they really don't, and then dropped Nelly's name like a bomb in the middle of the crowd. People didn't even know how to process it. Was DL joking, or was he really exposing some buried truth about Nelly's pockets?
This isn't a campaign. This isn't an RNC. I'm not out on the political campaign. I didn't get none of that 1.5.
See, this whole thing started when DL was on his podcast clowning around talking about celebrity money and fake flexing. But when he brought up Nelly, the room went silent. He said, "Some of these dudes be shaking hands with billionaires and end up in debt to them." And everybody started connecting the dots. Could he be talking about Nelly and Trump? It hit different because Nelly's been trying to keep a low profile lately, selling half his music catalog, talking about investments, and showing off big country vibes instead of flashy chains.
Nelly, congratulations for that 1.5 million you got for that show.
Does Nelly come back to St. Louis and visit?
Come on, man. He always say lose, but only at the casino. That's where he lose all his money at. And then he go down there on the dub and get his coat.
But DL wasn't letting it slide. He hinted that Nelly might have had business dealings with Trump back in the day. Maybe sponsorships, property ties, or campaign donations gone wrong. That's what made people start whispering. And once the internet starts whispering, it don't stop. Now, Nelly's always been that smooth dude from St. Louis who turned rap into a lifestyle. The Band-Aid, the smile, the crossover hits, and that Midwestern hustle. He made country cool before anyone else even tried it. But fame comes with layers, and when the money ain't as long as the image, that's when people start watching close.
Somebody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you jigaboo ass niggas gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the fuck one of you Uncle Tom for doing it. Which one of you gonna do it first? I was the one that performs for himself.
DL Hughley's claim that Nelly owed Trump $1 million hit like lightning. Not because of the number, but because of who he said it to. Trump ain't no regular businessman. He's known for money moves, lawsuits, and big headlines. So the thought of Nelly being wrapped up in that world had fans clutching their phones, scrolling nonstop for receipts. People online went crazy. Some said DL was just trolling, pushing his usual comedy to truth routine. You know how he mixes real issues with humor to get people talking. But others believed he knew something. They said Nelly's name wouldn't have come up unless there was smoke somewhere. And with DL's history of spilling celebrity tea, people listened. They remembered how he's never been scared to call folks out. From Kanye to Steve Harvey to industry execs, DL always keeps it raw.
Does Nelly come back to St. Louis and visit?
Come on, man. He always say lose, but only at the casino. That's where he lose all his money at. And then he go down there on the dub and get his right? And he go over there on Shreve and get his perks. And then he go down there and get his X. He be at all the dope spots just getting and shit. Well, but he always get it on credit. Like he still don't get no money for that. I was like, everything he get off his love, off because he Nelly. That's what I'm don't know he up yet. That's what I want. But he need to give me my 50 million. That's what I'm. You saw he get caught with the X, so you know I ain't cap. You saw that. Yeah, he go in St. Louis, get his little drugs, and go there and lose all his money to the casino. Right? That's what my 50 million at. My 50 million down in that casino. Stop playing on me. Stop playing on me. Down, baby. Stop playing.
So Nelly spends all his money. Spent all his money. How are you gonna get your money from him if he's broke?
I want the Masters game. You don't get it. It ain't about the money. I want the Masters. I want what's mine. See, he ain't gonna be able to pay me. His card gonna decline. And when his card decline, the Masters is mine. Stop playing with me. I want the house. I want everything. I want Ashanti, gang. Ashanti look good on me. Stop playing with me. How you think?
He don't sugarcoat, and that's what makes his words hit. Still, this one felt personal. He sounded like he was sending a message like, yo, if you got skeletons in your bank account, don't front like you're rich. And then came the twist. Some insiders claimed DL's comments might have roots in a real business mix-up from back in the 2000s. Word is Nelly had performed at Trump-owned venues, maybe had some event deals that didn't go as planned. There were whispers about unpaid performance fees, tax write-offs, or business entanglements that ended weird.
So ain't nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you jigaboo ass gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the fuck one of you.
See, Trump had his hand in everything back then: casinos, hotels, events. And it wasn't unusual for entertainers to get caught in the money web. So if Nelly ever got involved with that circle and something went sideways, it might explain why DL dropped that number like he had a receipt. $1 million debt ain't pocket change, even for someone who once ruled the charts. But here's where it got even messier. DL wasn't just talking numbers, he was talking image. He said a lot of these rappers live like they're still in their prime when they're really drowning in taxes, loans, and favors owed to big money people. And fans started looking at Nelly's recent moves like clues. He sold half his music catalog for around $50 million earlier this year. Sounds rich, right? But DL hinted that sometimes when celebs sell their masters, it's not just to cash out, it's to cover up deeper money issues. That's what had people side-eyeing the whole situation. Was Nelly just cashing in, or was he cleaning up old debts, maybe even one linked to Trump? As the drama heated up, Nelly kept quiet. No statements, no interviews, no social media rant. That silence spoke volumes. Fans said, if it wasn't true, wouldn't he clap back? Others said he was just too chill to entertain gossip, but you know how it goes. When a big name stays silent while their name trends, that just keeps the rumors alive. Meanwhile, DL doubled down, saying in another segment that truth don't need a press release. That line had everybody talking like he knew something for real. Was it a jab, a hint, or just DL being DL, mixing shade with showmanship? Either way, the internet had already picked sides. Some folks defended Nelly, saying he's been grinding smart and staying away from controversy. They said DL was just stirring the pot for attention. Others said, nah man, DL been in the game long enough to know where the bodies are buried. It became a whole debate on celebrity finances and fake lifestyles, how fame can look rich but feel broke behind closed doors. You can't flash Bentleys and jet planes when you still got $1 million phone calls coming in from your past. And then came the fans who brought up old interviews where Nelly joked about bad business deals early in his career. They dug up footage, posts, and even his old connections to high-end events that might have tied back to Trump properties. Some even claim Trump's team once booked Nelly for a private gig that turned sour over payment disagreements. Whether that's fact or fiction, people ran with it. The storyline became bigger than just gossip. It turned into a symbol of how deep celebrity money games really go. DL might have started it as a joke, but he touched a nerve that had the whole culture talking. Because let's be real, when comedians talk, they say what others are scared to. DL don't hold back. He's always mixing truth with humor. And this time, he might have mixed too much truth with too much spice. Whether Nelly actually owes Trump a dime or not, DL pulled back the curtain on something real, the illusion of endless wealth. And people love seeing behind that curtain. Every time a star's money moves hit the spotlight, fans want to know who's really winning and who's just acting like it. And DL just threw Nelly's name right into that conversation like a grenade. After DL Hughley's words hit the net, it was like lighting a fuse that nobody could blow out. Every podcast, gossip page, and hip-hop forum started dissecting the situation. Was this a straight-up truth bomb or just DL stirring chaos for clicks? One thing's for sure, the drama had layers, and the more people looked into it, the deeper it got. Folks started dragging up old records, interviews, and even throwback business deals trying to see if Nelly and Trump ever had real money ties. And believe it or not, a few receipts started floating around, not solid proof, but enough to keep people talking. They pointed to times Nelly performed at Trump-owned venues back in the day, and one rumor even claimed he once did a private gig that never got fully paid. Now imagine that, doing a show for Trump's team and ending up shortchanged. That would make anybody salty. But let's be real. This isn't just about one rumor or one comedian talking slick. This whole thing exposes how celebrity money really works behind the scenes. A lot of folks think fame equals riches forever. But in the entertainment world, that bag can flip quick. You can have hits for years, but one bad investment, one messy deal, or one greedy manager can drain it all. And that's why DL's words cut so deep. Because they weren't just jokes, they were warnings. He was basically saying, yo, stop living like the money can't run out. And Nelly's name just happened to be the example that got caught in the crossfire. DL's known for mixing truth with shade, but this time the shade felt extra spicy. Nelly's fans jumped in heavy to defend him. They reminded everyone how he made smart moves too, like selling his catalog for $50 million, investing in real estate, and keeping himself relevant without beef or drama. They said he's not broke, he's diversified, but critics fired back saying, why you sell half your music if everything's all good? That question started floating around every blog. It's the kind of thing that makes people wonder if DL wasn't just throwing smoke. Maybe he knew Nelly was patching financial holes. You know how the industry moves. One minute, everyone's popping bottles, and the next, they're selling assets to keep the IRS off their back. And DL's been around long enough to see all that firsthand. Then came another twist. Some folks dug into campaign records and found that years ago, Nelly had ties to political events. Not necessarily Trump's, but events in the same circles. And that's where things got wild. The conspiracy talk started flying. People claiming Nelly might have done favors or owed returns on old connections. Nothing confirmed, but once social media gets an idea, it spreads faster than truth ever could. People were dropping theories left and right, from Trump loaned Nelly money to Nelly's team got caught in a property flip gone bad. It was all over TikTok and YouTube, creators making timelines, voiceovers, and wild breakdowns like they were detectives. And DL, he just kept quiet, letting the chaos do the talking for him. What made it all worse was the timing. This came when Nelly was already in the spotlight again because of his rekindled romance with Ashanti and his comeback performances. He was on a high, enjoying his wins, and then boom, DL's comment dragged him right back into drama. It's like the entertainment world can't let anyone stay happy too long, and that's what made fans mad at DL. They said he could have made his point without naming names, but you gotta understand, DL's style is built on saying the things that make people uncomfortable. He's never been scared to ruffle feathers, especially if he feels the truth is hiding under the glitz. And let's not forget, DL Hughley and Nelly both come from eras where image was everything. Back then, you had to look successful to stay relevant, even if your finances said otherwise. So DL probably saw through that all-good image and called it like he saw it. Whether it was about Trump specifically or just a metaphor for big debts owed to powerful people, the message hit. Even stars got an answer for bad money moves. The internet loved that narrative. It felt real, raw, and human. And that's what keeps people glued, not perfection, but the cracks that show through the shine. Meanwhile, some insiders from St. Louis claim DL's statement might have been payback for something said behind the scenes. Maybe Nelly threw shade before, maybe there was a disagreement about show bookings or mutual connections. Nobody really knows, but the entertainment game's full of quiet grudges that surface in the loudest ways. And when DL said debt, maybe he wasn't talking about dollars, but respect. You know how that goes. Sometimes when someone says you owe something, it's about loyalty or recognition, not cash. But that didn't stop the blogs from twisting it into a money scandal that shook timelines for days. Then things took another wild turn when a few financial analysts popped up online to break down Nelly's career numbers. They pulled out stats like Nelly sold over 20 million albums and earned tens of millions from tours and endorsements, but then showed how taxes, record label cuts, and expenses can eat most of that up. One even said, for every $10 million an artist makes, they might only keep 2. That's when fans started realizing maybe DL wasn't saying Nelly's broke, but that his wealth wasn't what it used to be. And that's what made it sting. When someone questions your money, they question your power. Still, one thing about Nelly, he never let gossip break him. Instead of jumping online to defend himself, he stayed moving, performing, and posting good vibes with Ashanti. That silence, it was power in itself. Because every time a celeb claps back, they feed the fire. Nelly chose peace, and that made people respect him even more. But DL's name stayed in the mix too. Folks were arguing about whether he crossed the line or just did what comedians do, expose truths people don't want to face. Either way, the story became bigger than them both. It turned into a lesson about fame, pride, and the price of appearances. And here's the crazy part. While all this chaos was happening, Trump himself stayed silent too. Not a tweet, not a quote, not a word. That silence made folks even more curious. Like, what if there was some past connection? What if DL really heard something through the grapevine that the public didn't catch? It was the perfect storm, a mix of truth, rumor, and ego, all playing out in real time. And once that energy hit the net, there was no pulling it back. People love seeing the powerful fall, or at least stumble, and that's exactly what made this story so addictive. Because at the end of the day, this wasn't just about money, it was about status. When someone like DL says you owe someone like Trump, it shakes the illusion of invincibility. It makes fans question how solid any of these celebrities really are. One comedian's comment exposed an entire layer of the industry, the part they don't show on Instagram. Behind the cars, chains, and parties, it's business deals, favors, and debts that don't get paid on time, and DL, in his raw, unfiltered way, cracked that door wide open. When the smoke from DL Hughley's bombshell finally settled, people realized this wasn't just a random headline. It was a moment. Everyone had something to say, from fans to radio hosts to financial bloggers, all trying to figure out whether Nelly was caught in a real million-dollar mess with Donald Trump or just the target of another internet exaggeration. The story hit harder because of the people involved. DL, the sharp-tongued truth-teller, Trump, the business mogul turned political storm, and Nelly, the St. Louis superstar whose image was built on smooth success and good vibes. That combination was pure gasoline for gossip, and once it ignited, it burned through social media like wildfire. As days passed, clips of DL's comments kept resurfacing on YouTube and TikTok. People replayed every word looking for hints or tone shifts. Some swore he was serious, saying his face told it all. Others claimed it was all comedy, a setup for a punchline gone too far. But DL didn't backtrack, didn't apologize. He stood on it. He said, "If you're comfortable with the truth, jokes don't hurt." That line hit heavy. Folks realized he wasn't just clowning Nelly. He was calling out a pattern in Hollywood and hip-hop. Stars flexing like moguls while drowning in private debt. And it stung because everybody knows that world runs on image. One bad story can make your stock drop faster than your next album. Meanwhile, Nelly still kept his cool. No interviews, no statements, just vibes. That silence became its own kind of power play. But it also made the situation more mysterious. If you innocent, why not clear your name, right? But some say Nelly was playing chess, not checkers, letting the internet fight itself while he focused on his bag. He had shows, brand deals, and a public relationship that was already bringing attention. The last thing he needed was to feed the chaos. Still, that quiet made the rumor breathe longer. It let every blogger, TikTok theorist, and YouTube host spin their own version of what went down, and each one got wilder than the last. Some claim Nelly once got into a business deal with one of Trump's affiliates, and the numbers didn't balance out. Others said DL got his info from a source inside the entertainment circuit, maybe a promoter, maybe someone who saw receipts. But here's the truth, nobody ever produced solid proof. No contract, no lawsuit, no invoice, just speculation stacked on top of speculation. But in today's world, rumor travels faster than fact, and perception becomes reality. The internet don't care about court documents. It cares about who looks guilty and who looks unbothered. And right now, Nelly looked calm while DL looked confident. Two energies that kept the whole thing alive. But let's look deeper. This moment exposed something way bigger than Nelly or Trump. It showed how fragile the idea of celebrity wealth really is. People always think these stars got endless money, but DL's point reminded everyone that success in entertainment ain't guaranteed forever. You can go from private jets to private loans overnight. Between taxes, team cuts, lifestyle costs, and bad investments, even millionaires can slide into debt before they realize it. So when DL said what he said, it wasn't just about exposing one man's wallet. It was a mirror held up to the entire industry. That's why so many people felt some type of way. They knew deep down he wasn't wrong about the system, even if the names were debatable. Then came the backlash. Some fans turned on DL, saying he was clout chasing, using Nelly's name to stay relevant. They said, "Man, why you always trying to bring down another brother instead of uplifting him?" Others praised him, calling him the truth teller of the culture who speaks what others whisper. It turned into a split debate, honesty versus loyalty. Should you keep it real about what's going on, or should you protect your peers from public embarrassment? DL didn't care either way. He's built for controversy. He's been through boycotts, beefs, and backlash before. He knows the cost of speaking raw, and he's cool with paying it. That's why his fans ride for him. He never sugarcoats the ugly side of fame. And even though the whole Nelly owes Trump headline faded after a few weeks, it left a stain that didn't wash off easily. Every time Nelly's name popped up in new interviews, people in the comments whispered, "But what about that Trump story?" That's how rumors live forever online. They attach themselves to your name like digital tattoos. And it didn't help that Nelly's catalog sale was still fresh in people's minds. Some said he was rebuilding. Others said he was covering debts, but nobody really knew. That's the danger of silence in the social media age. people fill in the blanks with whatever sounds juiciest. And you know what? DL's statement also brought out other celebrities who started dropping their own money confessions. Some rappers admitted they'd been broke before, others talked about learning how to manage fame. And suddenly the conversation shifted from Nelly to the truth about celebrity finances. It turned into a whole trend. Influencers exposing fake rich culture, fans digging up financial scandals, and podcasts breaking down how your favorite rapper really spends their millions. It's wild how one joke can turn into a cultural moment that makes everyone rethink what rich really means. But through all that noise, Nelly stayed focused. He kept performing, smiling, and posting wins. If anything, the storm made him look stronger, like someone who's seen gossip come and go too many times to care. And that's what made people respect him even more, because silence in today's world is its own kind of flex. He didn't need to prove nothing. His longevity spoke for itself. And DL, he got what he wanted too, a conversation that shook the room and reminded everyone that comedy ain't just jokes, it's reflection with a punch. In the end, whether Nelly ever owed Trump a single dime or not doesn't even matter anymore. The impact's already made. The world got reminded that fame ain't armor, and that behind every luxury brand and flashy chain, there's a balance sheet that tells the real story. DL Hughley just cracked open a window most folks don't want to look through. It's messy, it's loud, and it's uncomfortable, but it's real. And if there's one thing people crave more than entertainment, it's truth with flavor. So yeah, maybe DL stirred chaos, but he also sparked a bigger talk about honesty, ego, and the cost of living like you can't lose. So now the question ain't just, is Nelly broke? It's how many stars out here fighting the same battle behind the scenes. That's the part people don't see, the fear of slipping, the pressure to keep up appearances, the silent debts that come with fame. DL just said what many insiders been thinking but were too scared to say. And whether you think he crossed the line or told the truth, one thing's clear. He flipped the spotlight in a way only a real truth teller can. In this game, the flash fades, but the facts don't. And as long as the public loves drama, names like Nelly and DL gonna stay echoing in the headlines for years to come. Proof that in Hollywood, even silence can sound like a confession.